Yeah. So first we begin to understand how difficult it is to communicate about the topic.
Mhm.
Second, we realize that people have to make their own mistakes.
Mhm.
Thirdly, we realize that it's very important to people. It's very important to listen to people who give warnings, because
Mhm.
maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong,
Mhm.
but maybe they're right. And so how do we communicate around the narcissist? Well, the first thing to understand, I think, is that you can't really be yourself, because that then is almost like a lie.
Mhm.
You're sort of forced. If you're surrounded by people that you don't like, you're kind of forced to lie to yourself to spend time in the company of these people for whatever reason. So
Mhm.
I think that it would be worth explaining to your daughter that some distance is not a bad thing in order to get perspective and to understand. Trying to explain to somebody that my past equals your future usually doesn't work.
Mhm.
That's the classic problem with parents and children. The parents are like, "Let me tell you what happened to me," and the children are like, "Yes, but it's my future." And these things seem like opposite ends of the spectrum. The parents' past
Mhm.
and they're not. They're very relevant to each other, but because of the parent-child sort of dynamic, they feel like opposite ends of the spectrum. So um, so distance is 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 key. Cutting down the amount of communication, understanding that where the actual problem is important in helping to start to solve the problem. Um,
Mhm.
you can't ever tell a narcissist that you can't tell a narcissist that they're doing something great, because they'll think they're wonderful, and it's not
Mhm.
really very true. But you can't tell a narcissist that they're doing something bad or wrong, because they'll react to it. You don't understand what I'm doing, or whatever. They just make up something.
Mhm.
Um, um, so you can't really respond to any of that at all. It doesn't work. You have to keep as much distance as possible. Um, like a dog, right? Like a dog that is a little bit out of control. You don't want to be next to it, because that's the way that the narcissists are. Setting clear boundaries, really important. And the boundaries come in at the beginning of all communication. Um, I will accept this, I will not accept that. And then reinforcement and reminding that borders
Mhm.
and lines and limits exist, which is why the parents have to have the conversation with the kids. This is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept. And maybe there's some middle ground where something will change. I don't know. But don't be surprised when you do something that I don't like and I'm not happy about it. So the setting of boundaries are really important as part of self-care in business and personal life, and it's healthy and it's normal. Keeping communication down to an absolute minimum, because it's
Correct.
frustrating.
Yes.
So communication needs to be down to a minimum, which maybe sometimes involves saying, "I'm sorry, I'm busy."
Yeah.
What do you mean you're busy? Well, I have a job to do. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, got my own life. um, so setting those boundaries and those limits. I know it's hard when there's a boss, but you have to give them, the first time you meet somebody, you give them 100% respect. But after that, if they don't give you respect, then you don't need to give them respect.
Mm.
That you don't. I mean, that's this. If you give people respect and they don't respect you, it's not in any way a fair, balanced, and positive relationship. A lot of people respect the boss, and they shouldn't. Well, you respect the position, maybe. You respect the fact there's more responsibilities there. You respect some difficult elements of it, but you don't have to respect people who don't respect you. I mean, it's just setting boundaries, basically. Narcissists will cause people to spend time thinking about them or what they do. If you have to spend time thinking about, what if I do this, what are they going to do, what if I do this, what are they going to say, if you have to spend time managing that in your own mind, you're very often dealing with narcissistic behavior. There's a lot of that in child-parent relationships, where children are like therapy for their parents. And adults who don't have kids have massive problems understanding the world, because one of the points of having children is to relearn everything that you forgot. And we forget a lot of things. And the same way that children are therapy for adults, they shouldn't be, but they are. Sometimes employees need to be therapy for their employer as well. Don't feed the beast. Don't feed the beast. Don't feed the bear.
Yeah. Understood.
Because the bear will come back for more. Now, this means a lot of people will want to be really, really positive towards a narcissist, because it will make them happy. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work, because we need to be honest and truthful in our conversation. And if we are always telling somebody that everything is wonderful, everything is fantastic, everything is amazing, in my language, for me personally, everything is nothing. Because it's just as easy to say everything as it is to say nothing. Things have to be specific. Don't feed the beast. It gives them power. Just gives them more power. Don't give them any more power. nobody should have more authority than their ability. It doesn't matter what the job position or title. It's real authority is about ability. It's not about position. So we understand this by focusing on what it is that people do, what it is that people do with their time, what it is that people respect, what it is that people honor, the goals, maybe a higher level of thinking. That my work is not just about the job. It's about the whole fact that we're doing something better for society, better for the world in general. With narcissists are compulsive liars. Compulsive liars. That means they will tell lies on a daily basis without thinking twice about it. They have no problems telling a lie. They will say whatever it is they need to say to get whatever it is they want. I love you. Don't you love me? That's an emotional context, but they will they will have no problems just saying whatever. And this is why you have to fact check everything. You have to double check everything that somebody with that kind of personality does, because they might be right, they might be wrong. It's crazy the number of people that just invent reality. There's a strong argument for the fact that a lot of reality is just whatever they think it is. Is 6 really 6? Or is it 15? Or is it 23? Or is it 7? When you have a narcissist, you've got to check and double check absolutely everything, because what starts as a little lie can grow bigger and 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 bigger. Right? 2 weeks becomes 4 weeks, 4 weeks becomes 6 weeks, 6 weeks becomes 8 weeks, etc., etc., etc. Give somebody an inch and they take a mile. That's it's a childlike mentality. The mind hasn't grown to understand and process things. They don't understand consequences. They've never had to live with real consequences. A lot of the people in prison are narcissists because they don't understand cause and effect. And a lot of the people out of prison should actually be in prison. Just that nobody caught them yet. Right? Because narcissists love narcissists. Who wants to be a police officer? Right? You know, who wants to do that job? Who wants to deal with arguments between neighbors and drunk people and traffic violations and depending upon which country you're in, gypsies, right? Who wants to do that kind of job? Does anybody really want to be a police officer so that they can help society? I don't know, maybe one or two, but it's a minority, I think. Especially as it's all about authority and rules and following instructions. Narcissists like to fight. They they like to pick something which is maybe not very important and push and push and push and push on that element to get a reaction from people. And very often they're not aware that they're doing it. It's, for some people, it's all that they know. Like people ask themselves, why does this happen to me? It happens to you because it's all that you know. You repeat the same mistakes because you don't know anymore. You don't know any better. It is a classic problem in human relationships, which comes from an inability to examine the past closely enough. So the narcissist will always, well, not always, a lot of the time they'll be on the edge of conflict. They'll be on the edge of an argument. And this is manipulation and control, because they think that other people will step back. Some will, some won't. It's the risk they take being a narcissist. And I think the worst thing is the fact that it steals people's energy. It steals people's energy. When you work as part of a team, you need to know that everybody has the same focus and everybody has the same goal, and that everybody is working together, and that you need to know that you don't have to check that other people are doing their thing. If you're in the football match and you are the center forward, you're the striker, you're the attacker, you don't want to be checking the goalkeeper and checking the left back and checking the right back and checking the midfield players are all in their positions doing their job. You don't want to be, you can't do your job if you spend most of your time checking if other people are doing their jobs. And a lot of the time when we're around narcissists, we lose energy because we have to spend time checking and trying to please other people when it's not our job. It's not really anyone's job to please other people in terms of work, right? If you if you are, the end product can be that you create or make something and it makes somebody happy. But while you're actually making the product or providing the service, it's you've got to focus on that service or that product. Once again, the football player playing in the football match doesn't have a lot of time to enjoy what's happening, because they're working on task and role and job and responsibility. If they're good at what they do, there's not much time to enjoy things there. So there's no solution and no real cure to the narcissist problem, unfortunately. Because everything's a trap. Yeah. And if we do end up in an environment where there are narcissistic people, we will only be happy if we spend a minimum amount of time in communication with these people. The point is, the communication is to transfer key pieces of information, nothing more. nothing more.